Your traditional playbook is dead. Hiring experienced salespeople isn't enough anymore, and your traditional playbook may even be making it worse. The truth about your current playbook is that it's not just outdated, it's dangerous. If you're relying on static content, your best practices are getting stale in real time. Your new reps are learning yesterday's tactics, and your value is leaking through disconnected content. Today's playbooks are a lot like paper maps. They're outdated the moment that they're printed. And in a world of Google Maps and self-driving cars in 2024, soon 2025, why would anyone still rely on tools like these? Yesterday's playbooks, consisting of static PDF documents or websites, generic scripts, one-size-fits-all approaches, annual updates, and hope-based training, just aren't going to cut it. The data tells a clear story. When companies implement playbooks effectively, the reps are 54% more likely to hit sales targets. And with the average sales rep tenure now just 1.5 years, you can't afford to waste months getting new hires up to speed with outdated training methods. So my name is Vidal Graupera, and I'm the founder of Salesably. And today I'm going to show you how to replace this with something radically better. Let's start with, okay, a lot of people know that playbooks are best practice, but why don't more companies have a sales playbook? 50% of them either don't have one or don't use it. And it isn't a small oversight. It's a red flag, because if something so critical is being ignored, it's because something is clearly broken in the process. So the top 3 reasons that I hear why people don't have a sales playbook or use one is 1, overwhelm, lack of resources and bandwidth. If they have money, they can outsource this, but often many don't, and it can be very expensive. 2, there's no suitable platform to house the content effectively. And 3, there's a resistance to change. We've always done it this way kind of thinking, or there's no agreement on the best processes and practices to codify. But even when companies do create playbooks, they often gather dust because they're static and outdated. So a solution isn't another document. It's a dynamic living playbook that evolves with your team and the market. Let me tell you about a problem. A lot of companies have a lot of valuable content and assets, but it's scattered and siloed. Marketing creates beautiful materials that sales can't actually use. I've heard this a lot. And your best practices, they're stuck in your top performers' heads instead of your systems. And by the way, when you codify all the assets that you have, you may even recognize that there's some gaps that need to be filled. I was talking with a CEO recently who put it perfectly. He said the further away the customer got from him, the more diluted his company's message got, because he couldn't reproduce himself effectively. Think about what this is costing you. Your value proposition gets fuzzy, your customer messaging becomes inconsistent, sales opportunities slip away because you can't scale what's working. It's like having a winning recipe, but there's no way to teach it to your chefs. And there's also another universal gap across sales, and that's competence. When buyers talk to most salespeople today, they don't walk away feeling more confident or enlightened. As Gerhard mentioned these statistics during the break, and they don't hear unique insights. They don't see true value. There's no discovery questions. So salespeople are just regurgitating information instead of being an actual trusted advisor. And it's often because they didn't even know the questions to ask or had the information to pull. Okay. Now with AI reshaping the sales world, a lot of people are even considering replacing salespeople with AI. So this isn't even just a training issue anymore. It's an existential threat. But here's the opportunity. A modern playbook can solve these problems. It captures and scales that precious tacit knowledge that you have. It can build real sales competence. It can enable continuous learning. And most importantly, it can turn all that scattered content into action. So it's not just about having a playbook. It's about having a system that turns average performers into experts and gives a new way to train salespeople. All right, so what should be in a sales playbook? A modern playbook isn't a document, it's an interactive experience. And so at the minimum, it should contain 4 things. What to know, foundational knowledge about your company and market. What to say, messaging, talk tracks, objection handling. What to show, customer-facing content and collateral. And what to do, actionable strategies aligned with your sales process. Why traditional playbooks can't compete with AI? Because an AI playbook An AI can make a playbook come alive. It has dynamic updates, scenario-based training, hyper-personalization, 24/7 learning. Your playbook shouldn't be something that you search. It should be something that you can have a conversation with, like a colleague. Imagine asking your playbook a question and getting an actionable response instantly. This is how AI can transform scattered content into structured competence building tools. But don't stop there. Just don't read about your personas, engage with them. Don't just read about product info. Have the AI teach you and test you about it. And don't learn about objection handling in theory. Practice them dynamically. Let me be direct about something. You might have amazing products, revolutionary technology, game-changing solutions, but here's the reality. That's not enough anymore. Having a great product doesn't matter if your team can't communicate the value. Think about it. You might even have great content and you have all the pieces, but it's not working together to build real competence. This isn't about finding some magic new sales technique. It's about transforming what you already know into something powerful. With AI, we can finally move beyond those static one-size-all-fits playbooks that gather dust and create something that actually builds competence at scale. Something that aligns your team around what works, something that turns your company's value to your salesperson's advantage. Because let's be honest, in today's market, if your salespeople are not becoming indispensable to your customers, they're becoming indispensable to your company. Let me share with you a statistic. Within an hour of learning new information, people tend to forget about 50% of it. And the percentage can increase to 70% in 24 hours. That's what's called the forgetting curve. So think about that. All the time and money you might spend on training, most of it instantly vanishes. That's why the old learn it and forget it model is dead. You just can't send your team to training and hope it sticks. And you cannot afford to practice and make mistakes with real prospects either. So what you need is a continuous learning that evolves with your team with real-time reinforcement of what's working, dynamic role plays of new situations, practice that adapts to clients' unique challenges. And that's why AI-powered playbooks are different. They just don't teach, they coach. They just don't inform, they engage. They keep your team learning, practicing, and improving every single day. And a typical playbook is dead on a server because it's not interactive. It's not engaging. And once people look at it once, they put it away and they never look at it again. So having a playbook is enough. The real challenge is to get your team to use it every day. You need to make sure that your salespeople are getting their continuing education that's consistent with your values, that's consistent with your processes, not some random course they might take, but a program that's designed to continually improve. And so here's another thing I've learned. Your company is your playbook. It's how you show up in every customer conversation. And you can't leave that to chance anymore. You can't hope that people will just figure it out on the job. The stakes are too high and the time is too short. This is why certification is critical. Not some old school check the box kind. I'm talking about real practical certification that ensures that everyone, not just sales, knows your true value proposition, your positioning in the market, your customer personas, your core messaging. And for your sales team specifically, they also need to master your proven sales plays, your conversation strategies, and your account development approach. But here's the key. Certification without practice is just theory. You need regular role play of key scenarios, scored rehearsals, continuous improvement tracking. And very few companies do this well. And that's your opportunity this coming year in 2025. When you build a system that can certify, measure, and improve performance, you can create consistent execution, confident teams, and scalable excellence. So once you've created the playbook to succeed, you need to centralize it. You need a home for the playbook where everyone knows to go. So you need an accessible platform. You need a way to measure success, track onboarding time, for example, win rates, deal velocity. You need to have numbers all around the playbook. You need to enable it and train your team on it continuously, and you need to keep it alive with regular updates to make sure it stays relevant. You need tools that are built for this kind of speed and adaptability. Question to consider. Okay. Let me ask you, is your playbook designed to optimize the talent on your team, or are they just doing random acts of sales? Imagine you had an NFL team without a playbook. You could have the best players, but without a playbook, it's every man for themselves. And sure, since some of them have talent, they played the game before, they'll score some points, but it's very unpredictable. And you're going to have to go through a lot of players potentially. But with a practice playbook and a program of certification, you can have average talent outplay phenomenal talent. It's like Moneyball, where you have the right players in the right place with the right playbook, you can get a winning team. So here's the thing. What might have worked in the past in 2024 is not going to work going forward. You have 28 days left till 2025. And in 2025, you're going to need to use these new kind of interactive playbooks. I'm going to give like a very quick demo now. I'm going to switch over to Salesably just to show you just a quick example. Okay, so here we are in Salesably. These are some of the practice modules you have. Just going to be like super 1 minute demo. So here, for example, we could go to objection handling, and I could pick a different scenario. In this case, we're good in that area. We're covered. We'll talk with the CEO, and we'll just start. So, hello, Maxwell. The reason I'm calling is I understand your team recently hired some new sales reps and they did a training, but things have not improved.
Yes, that's correct. I appreciate your concern. However, we're good in that area. We're covered.
So I just want to point out, we can go more turns and you can talk, you can type, you can do things like that. You'll get feedback in real time. And then also
I'm satisfied with our current solution.
stop that.
And don't.
It also measures like not just what you say, but how you say it. So just a quick little snapshot of that. Let me go back to my presentation. Oh, so that was Salesably. That's a view of some of the personas that you can set up. All right. In closing, I just want to say personally, thanks for having me, Gerhard. Sales leaders, one of three things is going to happen now. One, you're going to think, okay, great. That was amazing. I get it. I have what I need to convert my old traditional playbook into a dynamic one. This is fabulous. And if that's you and you're ready to go, awesome. If you have any questions while you're implementing, please feel free to reach out. Whoops. Two, you might be like, hey, that was great, but I don't have time. This isn't the right time for me. I don't really have a team for this. So that's okay too. If that's you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and I'll make myself available. Or three, if you're like a lot of sales leaders and you have talent that you're not optimizing and you really like to learn more about dynamic playbooks and how this could take your team to the next level. If that's you want to explore further, I could give a longer demo. So I've scheduled an event next week where I'll just give a longer live demo and we can talk about stuff. So there's the link to register. Thank you so much for your time today and attention.